Hello everyone, Sweaty Zeus here, and today we're going to take on the Gates of Boletaria, formerly known as World 1-1 in the Demon Souls remake. So first off, I think there's an item back here we'll pick up. Should have been an enemy there on the left and right, so two when we first loaded in. I think I may have, while I was getting ready, had those guys come in, and I thought I reloaded it, but I guess I was wrong there. But I'm sure at this point you know what to do with those. So with this build, I think we're going to be doing a bit more of like a battle mage, not a pure caster type build, but a little more built to be able to do a little bit of melee as well. Just for the fact that that's kind of how I prefer to play. There's going to be points where we're going to run out of mana, or we will face a boss or enemy that's a little difficult. That having just a pure caster is not going to really work for, and I do like at that point having enough good melee traits to fall back on. And with this build, we're going to incorporate a melee weapon that's going to take advantage of our intelligence stat, so it's going to hit like a truck as well. So I think it's a little more fun way to play too. It can get a little tedious only casting, in my opinion, especially in this game as opposed to some of the later FromSoft games. There aren't very many. There's not. I shouldn't say not very many, but as far as pure offensive primary spells, there's not really a ton in this game. We're gonna have like 3 or 4. So just to mix the gameplay up a little as well, I like to be able to put a little bit of our currency into melee as well. But you can, it's the beauty of these games. You can play it however you prefer. So I'm just going to be looking at this from the standpoint of the build I was planning on doing, and you can obviously change that however you prefer. Alright, you're going to be guy there throwing bombs and one ahead throwing bombs. Oh, didn't really take our own information to heart there, did we? can see we've used about half of our mana there so far. And some of the areas that are a little more intensive with enemies, you can really burn through that pretty quick. And I don't really like having to carry a lot of, or spend a lot of currency on different things to keep that mana supplied. I like, kind of letting it rebuild on its own a little bit. Oh, we already took care of that guy. So obviously, if you mix in melee, you're not going to run down that stat quite as fast. So, alright, so there's going to be a trap right here. You can see that round ball at the top of the stairs. We're going to walk up these stairs real slow so we can turn around and there we go. Just walk to the side there and we still got hit. You're probably going to want to run when you do that. So, and drop down here and pick up the bastard sword, which really for this build isn't going to do a lot. It's going to be a little too intensive in strength for us to utilize. And I want to talk about real quick, we are in soul form, as I noted earlier, with the translucent character. And you see our health, max health is halved up there. So that is one thing that makes it a little tougher playing in soul form. But as I said before, there's a reason we're doing that, and we'll go into that a little further. But first off, we're going to, just up ahead here, we're going to grab an item that's going to allow our max health to raise about, I guess, 50% of where we are now. So it'll be a little more manageable to work with. Right now we can only, take a couple hits before these guys will kill themselves. Right, and right here, just hit both of these chains to allow the items to drop down for us to pick up down there. Alright, and from here, we can either throw a bomb or try to take on those guys kind of all together. At this point, I've got 14 of them, so I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple of them. We're going to want to save most of those for an upcoming boss, though. And I didn't get to the right item. So, when throwing these, I like to kind of like use my ear and go a little bit above, as like an aiming reticle, your ear. And then go to a little to the left usually, and a little higher than what you're throwing at. So probably right about there. And then be careful, because if you're too far to the edge, she'll walk off when throwing an item. And that leaves us one guy left to deal with. And that's really good for the upcoming fight as well, to get some pine resin. Excuse me. So that will open our shortcut. And that way we don't have to fight all the way back through the way we came every time. And at this point, you're going to want to swap out one of your rings, definitely, for the cling ring anytime you're in soul form. I'm going to swap out the providential ring because there's not a lot, that raises item discovery. There's not a lot of items we're looking for in this area, to be honest. Most of the things we get are just going to be part of the environment and we're going to pick up. So we'll grab both of these items, which we're not playing as a female, so none of those matter. You definitely want to pick that one up, the Jade Hero Ornament. It's going to allow us to get one of a couple items, as we can trade that. And the other thing I picked up there, Age Spice. That's as I was talking about consumables to replenish your magic. That is the consumable for that. So, like I said, and having the ring where it regenerates, you can see we've cast a lot of spells and we really haven't gone below half at any point. So, that's a real big advantage of playing with this this build here. Now we can go that way. I'm gonna probably, unless you're a little more adventurous or willing to possibly die, I'm gonna recommend against that right now, because there's gonna be a couple enemies ahead that are gonna be a little out of our league at the moment. With a caster build, we can definitely probably handle them, but there's really nothing up there we really need right now. We'll probably come back to that later if we remember. So right here, you're going to be able to go one of two ways. You can go in there and take care of that guy. I'm going to recommend going forward this way a little bit, and then we're going to double. Kind of ease our way into here and get ready to run, and that guy's going to take out those for himself. Dispatch of him, and we're needing a new weapon here pretty soon. As you can see, that rapier's really kind of losing its effectiveness as our enemies are getting a little stronger. But we should be able to pick something up here very soon. There's going to be an enemy to your left there. It's taken us 5 hits at this point to bring somebody down. Now, I'm going to bust through these. And do not hit this guy by accident, because you will not be able to. In fact, I even recommend maybe putting our things away when we walk up to him. Is I hit him in a previous playthrough, and then I could not purchase anything from him for the remainder of the game. And there's going to be some items you can only get through him. So I definitely recommend, being sure and very careful around him. Don't decide to take a nap with the controller nearby or anything like that, because you definitely don't want to hit him. He's going to have a few items of interest. Notably the short spear, which is going to be a great weapon coming up in another area, but we're going to be able to actually pick up something a little better than that. That's going to be another spear type weapon. And if you don't have a shield, I would recommend right now probably, the 90 physical damage there that one does. It's going to be great. Any of these with low physical damage, to me, I'm not a big fan of. You're still going to take a lot of damage when being hit. And then we've got some better armor, the soldier class armor we can pick up. And then there's some fire bombs. Like I said, those would be useful in the upcoming fight, but we're not too worried about that. So we know where that guy's at now. We're going to double back this way. And we're going to drop over this ledge. If you remember, if we push circle and forward, And here is another important ring, the Thief Ring, which is going to allow us to sneak up on enemies and lower their detection rate. So right here you can either take these guys out one at a time. Usually like practicing throwing bombs near these crates or barrels, you know, if they're close enough. We'll see if we can get one there. Of course, maybe those aren't explosive. I was thinking they were, but regardless. So this guy here is waiting for us to dispatch of these enemies. And he's going to give us a pretty useless item that we are going to be able to trade. So, or you can use it. It's not something I've ever used because the bow and arrow obviously double is the same thing. It's basically a telescope which allows you to zoom in and look from your first person view, which again you can do that with the bow and arrow. So kind of redundant. Me a guy break out of each of those, and he's gonna fight him. We're gonna help him out here, and you can kill him, or there's a quest. He's gonna be an important NPC a little later on in the game, and he does have an item. It's gonna allow us to access that area where we split off just before. And there's the scimitar, which to me is a very obvious switch right now. It's got a much better move set, and it also does bleed damage. If you can see the blood drop down there with 120 next to it. So we're going to be doing 85 physical damage, where before we were doing 80, so it's a little increase. And I feel a little better about putting a stat into this if we're going to want an increase in effectiveness. So again, you can kind of work with him to get through this area. Hopefully he'll come over this way. Yeah. So you can kind of let him dispatch of these guys up here. Or you can do it yourself if you're tired of waiting on him, because he's very slow. We were taking that guy down with one hit. So as you can see, the scimitar, much better damage. 3 hits as opposed to 5. It swings much faster. So we're going to kind of walk real slow up here and try to get away with another bomb throw. And takes most of them out. And you get the experience either way, whether he kills these enemies or you do. It doesn't really matter. Oh! I don't know how I put that up. Oh, I'm getting a little sloppy there. Alright, so there's our first items to upgrade our weapons. Shards. Those are going to come in plenty in this game, to be honest. I don't really focus too much about farming them or trying to chase certain shards, because you're going to have an abundance of them by the time we are ready to really start investing in a weapon, which is going to be in another episode or two. We'll have plenty of whatever we want to do. There's another guy there. And when we tag team them, they really got no chance. So now you can approach this the other way if you don't want to pick up the thief ring until you've dealt with all these guys, and then double back and pick it up. But especially with magic, these guys are pretty much a cakewalk. So But, oh, I forgot about him. Actually, with those soldier guys, we're still taking 4 hits as opposed to 5, so it's 1 better, but... As far as using your grass for healing, I usually try to keep my health full up, especially when we're in soul form. Because, you know, if you get a little low, a couple hits, or you get boxed in, you're pretty much done for. So this will take us back right here, the way we came. And that's the merchant right over there. And ahead is the way, you know, we doubled back and dropped over the ledge. Oh. Man, I am practicing really poor situational awareness here. Well, I took 5 on that one, so... Again, that is a faster moveset, in my opinion, than the... It's really probably not much faster, but... And you can use your shield there too. I'm just not really worried about right now. If you allow them to, you know, get a hit, it's going to throw them off balance, and then you can kind of punish them. It's another reason why, you know, I recommend as close to 100% damage reduction as you can get, because you don't want to be taking damage while you're blocking, if at all possible. Just stay moving in this area as we're getting shot at from all different angles. Now these guys with the shields, we're just going to hit them twice and they're going to stun, which allows them to open up for a hit. But their shield does a really good job of blocking out damage. If you are a melee build, you're going to want to circle that guy. I hate when he falls off. You're going to want to circle that guy and get behind for a backstab, or attempt to parry. Or you can also push, which it's a little finicky in this game. I'm a little... If you push forward and attack R1 together, supposedly at the same time, you do a little kick. Which is... It is very finicky. Anyways, I don't know why it's so hard to trigger sometimes. I was playing Dark Souls 1 recently, and you know, you can trigger it every single time. I don't understand about the remake, why it's so difficult to do. It seems like the only time I do it is by accident. Maybe I'm having a stroke or something. I know you can do that. I mean, really, that's just going to put shielded enemies off balance, allowing you to attack them. Now, right here, there's going to be a ton of guys right forward there. We're going to want to hit this and try not to get caught up. There we go. So you're really going to want to stand to the side, not let those hit you. And then we'll just go pick up all these items. Pretty cool view right there. So you can see our magic's already fully replenished just in that short area where we didn't use any. So you're going to be 2 that come out from the right, which are going to be shield bros, which again, if you're magic, are a joke. just be ready for them. And up ahead, there's really nothing in there. You think there might be items there, but there's nothing there behind those pillars. And there are the two dragons. We're going to be taking on the red one. It's going to be, not a traditional fight, but we'll be taking on him soon. And what we are trying to go for right now are a couple items up here. So we could very well die. If you're nervous about this, you can avoid it. But I recommend running to the left, and that item right there above my head is going to be the tricky one. We'll find a way to get them away here later with the world tendency. Getting into pure white is going to cause the red one to fly off, so we can pick up the rest of those items. But either way, you should be able to run down this way fine. Even if you're nervous, don't worry about it. They're not going to get you. As long as you know how to run. We definitely want to pick up this item right here, which is the Archstone, which are going to be our warps. They're bringing us back to the Nexus, where we can warp from anywhere instead of having to be at an Archstone. As you can see, he's blowing fire at us. So you can try to bait him to blow fire, and then while he's regenerating, go pick up that other item, but I'm not too worried about it. It's not something we really need right now. As far as health, you're going to want to use your crescent health where applicable. I recommend trying to have that at crescent moongrass and your half moongrass both equipped. Your half is going to, closer to full you get on the different grasses, is going to heal more. Or crescent's, the lowest. So at this point, I recommend you try to use that as much as possible, because they're going to be a little more useless later on as our health greatly. And we're trying to bait the dragon here to come out, and he's going to blow fire. Hopefully. There we go. We're going to run away. Allow him to kill all of our enemies for us. Alright. So what we're going to do, as soon as he's done, we're going to run for it and hold circle. Oh, great. I thought we were far enough away there. So obviously you're going to want to be down the stairs just a little. Bait him again. Wow. That was really embarrassing. The other option is to let him fly away, which we can do, which is a little safer. Get on here far enough, we should just leave the area. Just gonna go back over here to protect. If we go this way. We can pick that item up while he's away. Probably not a smart idea, but it's just a moongrass. See, that's why I'd recommend against it. You'll have plenty of those. And now he's back there and everyone's dead. We should be able to run through. Normally I try to just zigzag those guys, but you can get pinned pretty easily. Especially we're going to still have a few to cut through up here. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. A zigzag there. Arrows. And once you're here, the dragon's not going to really hurt you. He'll start breathing fire after those guys. So that's why you lock on. You're missing all of them. I'd recommend it's picking items up, but I'm pretty used to the timing. Soldier shield's pretty good right now as well. That's going to allow us to actually the same as what we already have, but if you have a lower shield, lower physical damage, the soldier's shield is going to block a little more damage than the buckler, which is a really good parry shield. The parry timing is a little bit better on the buckler for whatever reason, making it easier to parry. So I don't really parry a lot in this game. I don't really find like it's something I need to do to be able to make it through. And we're going to pull this lever, which will allow us to access our first boss encounter. Whoa, a scary spear. Looks intimidating. But is it? Not really. This is a pretty easy boss, to be honest. Definitely pick up that 4 pine resin. That's nice. We won't even need all of those to finish the boss off. But you're definitely going to need fire. You can get by without it, but it's going to be careful with these guys too. You can really get caught up with some damage there. So we're going to go ahead and spam magic at these guys. Or you can do your try hard shield method and melee. And the sound design in this game is pretty amazing. You can hear his shield ring, like a bell as the magic hits it. Pretty cool. Here's our first look at the Phalanx enemy, or shield bros, and they're gonna drop, our craftable weapon improvement items, or for upgrades. I can't think of any words. And those hero souls, you've already seen, but just for anyone that came in late, those are, with these guys you want to circle around too, as you'll see. Otherwise they're going to kind of bang on their shield and open yourself to attack. But those souls we collect are consumables that allow us to increase our souls or currency that we hold. Now, you're going to want to roll dodge that, but I am just a little lazy right now, so I just woke up. And my timing is pretty poor. And I'm not really worried about it. So pull this lever. Or again, you can use the shield because they throw that at you. And we're back where we started. Now, since we haven't warped back at any point, all these enemies are gone. If we would have gone back to the Nexus or healed or rested at the Archstone back there, it would obviously replenish them all. But that's why I like kind of doing it on one loop through, where when you double back, you're not running into guys as you got to come down this way and go back up that tower. And, if you're going here and healing, if you need to, do it. But if you're going back up, you're going to have to fight your way all the way back up, and there's going to be enemies at the top that you would have already killed. And so, alright, so we're going to make sure, go down here, and equip our pine resin. And I'm going to start off with the fire bombs. I think they're more effective here. This enemy is going to be a bunch of those shield guys together in a phalanx, as the ancient. I can't remember. I know it was one of the old Greek or Roman militaries, but they, make a kind of a turtle shell, and they will stay behind and poke their spears. So, anyways, to get through that fire damage, you're gonna want to circle behind and get those blob guys. If you're with the sword, not with the shield, as I swung it right there at the same time. So I'm gonna two-hand through here. And the pine resin's going to put our blade on fire. But I'm going to save that right now because we're going to start with the bombs. And we're going to throw those at the big clump of enemies and take out as many as we can. And then we're going to, got really enough almost to finish the whole boss. But I'm going to throw probably 5 or 6 of those and then switch to the pine resin to clean up and finish off the boss. But you can kind of watch here and see my technique. I'd probably recommend before you give it your first shot if you're new to it. Otherwise, it's a pretty easy encounter. I don't think I've ever died on it, actually. You can see I got face hit with that spear, but, I don't... really not even that much damage, to be honest. So just hide behind the pillars anytime you want to heal. You can see we're taking out just like clumps and clumps of these guys. So what I recommend is kind of circling around every few seconds, and they've got to turn their bodies to attack. And you can really punish them. Man, I've thrown all those. I'm going to go ahead and just throw them all. Alright. So now we're going to go over here and equip our pine resin. And show you how efficiently we can finish these guys off with fire. Like I said, one hit when you get behind the shield. And you're going to take out several at a time when you swing usually. Whoop. And once you take care of all those guys, this blob is going to be where you concentrate your damage. But it can't even do damage to you. So look at all these shields that of the ones we've killed. And you're going to want to pick all these items up, which those are weapon upgrade materials. And then we are going to go ahead and hit this archstone to finish out our first area. So that wasn't too hard. Obviously this game, or all the FromSoft games are kind of legendarily difficult, but as you see, it really wasn't that bad. So the next video, we're going to take on some of the more peripheral items I want to pick up before we start our journey and really get into it. Once you've beaten this enemy here, you're going to be allowed to level up, and you're also going to be allowed to travel to other areas. So that's going to allow us to go kind of cherry pick a few items that we want to kind of run and pick up before we really get into the meat of our journey. And we're going to pick up a weapon that's really going to hit like a truck compared to what we have now, especially for a magic build. So once you hit this, you'll get the Demon Soul, which I highly recommend you hold on to those. This first one, it's not really that important. It's only going to give you a melee weapon that's good for peer-to-peer use. If you're not playing online versus other people, go ahead and use that. I wouldn't worry about it. It's not a great weapon. As you know, you can use those demons' souls, quote-unquote, for creating weapons that you can use kind of boss weapons in the game, like the spear that's back there, and those guys all had. Is going to be the weapon you can get from that soul, and so on. So, or sometimes you can get magic items, but that one's only good for the spear, which really, unless you're playing other people online, it's great for that, but considered kind of scummy, and considered like a newbie tactic, as they say. So, anyways, do with those as you want, but I recommend you kind of hang on to all of them. This one being the least important, but just wanted to make a note there of that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this and warp back to the Nexus. And I think what I'm going to do for this series is level up before we start the next area. We're going to let the cinematic play. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to cut this here, keep these a little shorter. This one's gotten a little long. But we're going to need to go up and meet this guy to allow our ability to level up, to unlock. Another little guy, short little boy, who is going to give us the ability to level up. So you can upgrade your weapons at this point. I'd recommend against, because we're going to pick up something a lot better very soon. But if you have a bow and arrow, you may want to pick up some arrows, or. But anyways, other than that, I think we're pretty much done here. I'm going to go ahead and end this one, and we're going to start right here in the next video. And I'm going to show you how to get ready to level up, where to find the monumental that we're looking for, and then we're going to pick up some items. That's going to be, like I said, a little bit of a side video. If you don't want to go on ahead and pick up items that are going to really help you and kind of get those things as you more naturally progress through these areas here, then you can skip that one. It's not going to really be a walkthrough so much. We're going to cover those areas again later. But this is just more for kind of recommended items to, kind of work on ahead and pick up. That'll make our journey a lot easier. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.